So Sam, I hear you're famous.
What for?
Driver versus Driver 2, Golf Channel, Wilson
Well,
Golf.
you may have seen me on TV yesterday.
See a lot of guys coming in here for your autograph, lady. You think I can get one?
You know what? My wrist is a little sore, but for you, half price.
Woo! What is that? Like $2.50?
It's gonna be worth a lot more money one day.
Think we can give one of those away today?
You know what? I'm feeling generous. Comment below for your chance to win a sleeve.
Sleeve.
I'll sign the box too.
Whoa.
Of Wilson Staff Duo Soft pink balls. We'll send them to your address. Comment below.
Wow.
That's for you for now.
You got to watch the whole video, right?
Yeah.
All right. So today we're talking about us being on the episode 5 and Wilson Driver versus Driver on the Golf Channel. Let's actually talk about the Wilson brand in general and the perception that consumers have, the optics, what they look like, what they feel like to consumers. So Wilson Golf, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. They're not Callaway.
Wilson is better known for a daggone volleyball in a movie than they are for golf clubs.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So you were a competitive college golfer. In golf, if you were to have played somebody and walked up and their bag was full of Wilsons from driver to putter, I mean, everything.
Easy dub. I mean, the guy has no chance.
No chance.
No chance.
So look, Wilson wasn't moving the needle.
There was no needle. There was no needle to move.
Yeah, even Tiger wouldn't have moved this needle for them, I don't think.
And he is the needle.
He is the needle. But at mygolfspy, we don't care about name brands, anything like that. We told you guys a million times. We test product. Now, at the end of the day, while they didn't move a needle or have a needle, they did have an iron that performed well in our tests year after year after year. And now, Sam, who is the director of hard good testing here at mygolfspy, sees it with more than just irons.
C300 Forge finished really well in our players' distance iron test. Their C300 driver, I mean, a lot of testers like the C300 irons. I mean, they're getting better.
They are getting better, but we see that. At the end of the day, though, the consumer hasn't seen that yet. They're starting to, but
Right.
If you had to capture the essence of the Wilson Golf brand in one word, what would it be in the past 10, 15 years?
Stale.
It's a good word. Stale?
It's just no direction, no pizzazz.
Nothing.
You know, I think I've told you this before. Products are only as good as you market them. You may have told me that before.
Wilson Golf, stale. So at the end of the day, they knew that and they needed to start something that made it not so stale. Enter driver versus driver. First
Step in the right
year,
direction.
You loved it.
Yeah, I as a consumer, it was the coolest show.
You weren't an
since
employee
Big
of
Red.
mygolfspy yet.
Not yet.
You thought it was great.
Yeah,
Actually, when you first started working here, you couldn't wait to hit one driver.
you're damn right.
It was the non-conforming Triton. Sam, can you make that conforming for me real
sure.
quick?
Yeah.
Great. So, while Sam is chopping off what was the result of season 1 and the disaster that was with the Triton driver, so what Sam's doing here is making a non-conforming driver conforming by cutting off about 3 or 4 millimeters of paint. And this is what they did. There were also some positives to take from season 1 for Wilson Golf, and that was people were talking about the name. People were talking about the brand, and at the end of the day, that's the goal. For you to be talking about their brand as many days out of the year as possible. And that was happening. And that takes us to season 2, and the superstar here, Sam Robinson, on episode 5. If you
Please.
haven't watched it yet, please watch, and obviously comment to enter to win a sleeve of pink duo golf balls from Wilson.
Got you.
Sam and I got to hit the final 4 driver prototypes, and they were called Launchpad, Cortex, Magnus, and Roswell. And we're gonna go one by one, kind of our experience. And the first one we're gonna start with is Launchpad. So, at the end of the day, really cool concept, all this hidden technology and this removable top. Problem is, golfers wanna see visible technology, and everything was hidden on the inside. The second problem happened when Sam hit his first ball, and what was that?
The hood to get to the technology flew right off. I mean, I looked at it and there were cracks. The whole thing just wasn't sealed properly. I know it was a prototype, but there was just some inherent problems there.
Yeah, the top popped off quite a few times. And granted, we were in the prototype stage and they can hopefully fix that, but I don't know if it's worth the risk reward, in my opinion, meaning what you would have to go through to get that to work in regards to what you would get
Exactly.
from the perspective from
and
the consumer.
selling that would be very difficult.
What'd you think about the overall sound of the club when we hit it?
It was muted, kind of dull, like almost as if there wasn't a lot behind the ball.
Every time you hit it, Jeremy Roenick basically
Winced, yeah.
winced. And he was right. If you were to bring that out with your partner or you heard it on the range, you would think the guy had a broken driver,
Yep.
right? I mean, at the end of the day, neither of us hit it well. I don't think it has a chance to make it any
No,
further.
unfortunately not. I think it's a cool concept, but not a sustainable concept.
Yeah, I agree. So the next one we're going to move on to is Magnus. So a lot going on with Magnus from the top, from the bottom.
Jimmy.
The designer, everything. There were some interesting things going on with that driver. Smash factor numbers were really high.
Yeah, didn't matter where you hit on the face. It was like you would get great ball speed and
But distance numbers weren't matching up, and the designer, in my opinion, is very rigid.
he would not take constructive criticism whatsoever.
No.
You said something that you thought could have been changed, you'd be like, no, that's good.
Yeah, and that's not what you want to hear from a designer, especially at that stage in the prototype stage when 100% of the people were looking down on the crown of this thing going, WTF is this?
Yeah.
A lot of acronyms, a lot of popular Twitter tags going on with that thing that day.
Trying to use my lingo.
Yeah, I'm trying to get young again. But anyway, from a standpoint of design, what did you think overall about the thing?
I think the concept is cool. Sliding weight is really in right now. Some companies are getting farther away from it. Callaway got rid of theirs.
Those weren't sliding weights.
No, but his is the opposite. Was what I was going to
gotcha.
say. Looks, I wasn't crazy about. It had this, I don't know, like sharp-toed edge drivers just don't look good to me. I think it felt good.
Did feel good.
But again, this whole smash factor thing where we were getting these weird numbers all over the face kind of makes you think, like, from people who deal with equipment all day long, you gotta question the legality of it.
Something was going on. I don't know what it was, but we were hitting prototypes, so you never know.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there was a lot of weights on the sole. There was a lot going on for the consumer on the crown. I think it was just too much.
Yeah.
The last thing a golfer wants to buy is a gadget, right?
Yep.
And I think it was a little gadgety with a very rigid designer.
And to be honest, it kind of reminded me of the Triton. The Triton has 3 weight ports, and this one had like 7 or something.
Yeah, I
There was
would
just
agree.
a lot of if I want to put the weight here, I got to undo this one, and
Back to the Wilson has to, in my opinion, pick one that is
100%
the
get it
whole
right.
package. And this had too many people saying, They can't have any of that.
Right.
So, I don't see that one moving forward either. But the next one we're going to go on to is the Roswell. And it's made a lot of changes in the first few episodes. And when it got to us, compared to what it looked like in the beginning, it's not even the same driver.
well, and I wasn't on the show, but they asked me to be in the filming for the episode when we were at the PGA show, so I got to look at these drivers before that iteration, and they still had the Infinitrack on there,
It was kind of like an 8.
and then they got it down to that Z
Correct.
and branded it really well with the whole name and everything, and it was really cool. But that was actually one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, the problem is this. From a mass properties nerd talk situation, the actual track, the structure of it weighed so much and was the biggest structure of anything that I've seen. So it weighed a lot for the structure. The structure was really internal set, so the CG would have moved high. Once again, nerd talk. And the weight that actually moved was such a small amount that it didn't
make an impact.
there was no impact. And the other thing is the name. You come out with a driver called Roswell, and you might be able to get away with it if you're Callaway or TaylorMade. You come out with that as Wilson, and you got a big fat dud on your hands,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
But all things other, looks were awesome. That's a driver that would have made me pick it up off the rack if I walked by.
I'd say,
And then it had
I
that
agree.
kind of it was almost like a matte gray finish on top, which was really cool. And I think that was the best feeling driver, to be honest with you. I remember it felt really, really good.
I think if they could match the feel of the Roswell with the looks and overall optic perception of the Cortex, which we're going to talk about next, they had the best driver, perfect driver.
Yep.
And that leads us right to the Cortex. So in regards to the Cortex, this is the one that looks the part, meaning it looks kind of TaylorMade-ish, kind of Cobra-ish, kind of Callaway-ish. It looks what golfers expect out of a driver in 2018.
Exactly. It's got visible technology. It's got the carbon fiber composite crown. It's got the muted sound that everybody likes. It's got in this traditional, honestly, very appealing head.
I think it looks sharp, you know?
Yeah.
Now, is it game changing? Have they found the next titanium in the golf world? No.
Probably not, yeah.
But do they have a driver that when people walk into the store, take Wilson serious? I think they do.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the winner. And I think if it's not the winner, they'd be crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, from the time I hit at the PGA show, I mean, I picked it up and it was a bit different. They actually filled in a lot of the those channels in the back with carbon fiber. So it's not, you know, they asked me like, what do you think of this driver? I was like, can I be honest? And they said, yeah. And I was like, it looks like an old Nike Covert with this big old cavity in the back of it. And once they made the cosmetic changes, I think that adjusted the sound a little bit because it sounded a little more traditional when we were at the show. And then when we got to the shoot in Florida, it was like, you know, way better. And I was like, this, I could take this on the golf course right now.
Yeah, and I think
It seemed like the most finished of all of them.
I agree. So pick a winner. Out of the 4 that you hit, if you were to have to predict what they would have out next year and that we would be testing for most wanted, what's the Wilson driver?
I like Tim a lot and I like the Roswell a lot, but I'm gonna have to go with the Cortex. I mean, for like we said, Wilson has to get it right.
Yeah.
You got to go with the Cortex.
Yeah, Wilson doesn't pick the Cortex in my opinion, and those that have seen it here's opinion. I think they'd be making a big mistake, and they would take that risk that they don't need to take like they took last year with the Triton, and they just can't do that. So that's Sam and I's opinion of what we saw, how we think it felt, and we think the Cortex is going to be the winner. But you tell us whether you agree or disagree, and if you think one of the other drivers should win. So don't forget to subscribe and comment below to win Sam's golf balls, signed autograph. They're going to be worth quite a bit of money. So that's it. So then, Sam,